All right, getting out of the house.
Okay. Call this town of Vinalhaven Board of Selectmen meeting to order for Tuesday, June 25th, 2024. Roll call. Tom Anthony is absent. Lad Olson, Don Young, Leslie Dyer, myself, Elizabeth Bunker, and Marjorie Stratton. Approve agenda as amended.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Minutes. Approve the minutes from the June 13, 2024 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Glad wasn't
You
here.
in here. Okay. Oh, right.
Okay.
Approve and sign treasurer's warrants of 52.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Communications.
Well, I would put this in your packet. It was a letter, as well, or a newsletter from the Historic Down Street organization. Oh, I thought,
I don't think I have it. All I have is this.
I thought we put one in each packet.
All I have is this stuff.
Oh, you know what? I attached it separately, didn't I? So when I printed the packets.
Thank you.
Leslie. What? Oh, okay. Yeah, I attached it separate, so when I went to print the packet, it's.
He said he was going to be here this evening. It's just some information about the Historic Down Street organization, who they are and what their plans are. I know that a lot of people are looking forward to that walk. I think it's Thursday. They're doing a Historic Down Street walk.
This Thursday?
I thought it was this Thursday.
Town meeting day?
Tomorrow night's town meeting.
Tomorrow's town. Wednesday.
Phil said he was going to be here. Obviously he isn't, but
So this is just
wanted to
for
give it to you.
information.
I think so.
Okay.
And then I had a correspondence from the Maine Municipal Association. Every year that they send a ballot for people for the Legislative Policy Committee. And historically, the Vinalhaven Board hasn't really felt like they wanted to vote for anybody because they really don't have a familiarity with any of the people. But certainly if you want to, it's something that you just sign. There's a Carrie Leichtman, the assessor of the towns of Camden and Rockport, is running for Legislative Policy Committee, and Kara George, town manager of Thomaston.
Oh, here's Phil.
And the Maine Municipal Association Legislative Policy Committee, they get together during the legislative session and either they vote to either support or not support, or neither support nor anyway.
Yes.
They vote. But anyway, does anybody have any interest in this? No. Okay. Just wanted to give you the opportunity.
Okay. We'll go back to the now that Phil just came in, the Historic Down Street. Is that what you wanted to talk about?
Yeah.
We just, yeah, go ahead.
So we've all had a chance to read that this one.
Yes.
And we're looking for a buy-in from the town in the sense that they would simply say, good idea, go ahead, not as a deeded endorsement or something like that. It's the registry we're seeking requires nothing of the property owners. We just want to get the buy-in of the people, the business owners and the property owners between the Legion Hall and the Union Church, and a good deal of those property of the town.
So it's just more support that you're asking for then?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're not going to go ahead with pursuing application unless we know that unless we know everybody in the district knows what we're doing and hopefully endorse it.
Well, I certainly have no problem recommending that we support this endeavor. So I think the consensus of the board, I'll let them
Yeah.
guys finish reading it, but
You're gonna fix up some of the prime properties that are run down.
Maybe. Oh, I knew you'd be difficult.
you can count on it. Thank you, Phil.
Thanks, Phil.
Yeah, I'm glad you folks have organized. It's good. Appreciate it. See ya.
Yes.
Okay. Alrighty. I assumed that you didn't say anything, Lad, but did.
Oh. That's fine.
Okay. No, I didn't know if you had anything you wanted to add or,
I would like to know more about what they're doing, but
well, you can certainly talk to Phil.
yeah.
You can
But now
chase
that he's
it.
gone,
You can chase it.
but I think they do have things in the
If
wind.
he answer he wants.
I think they have things in the wind that you can look at but I just,
Sounds like a good idea, period.
yeah, support. It's not gonna,
The only question mark is if some property owner decides not to participate, I'm not sure how they handle that.
yeah, I have no idea what their plan is, but I'm sure we'll find out if that happens. Okay, anyway, moving on. Number 6, speakers from the floor. I can't see behind Gabe. Number 7, committee and departmental reports and appointments. A, Woodard and Curran.
I didn't get a written report, but apparently he's a little bit under the weather. So
Yeah.
Anyway. So I don't have that status report from Woodard and Curran. Gabe is here to
B,
about a few things.
B, downtown project.
So, what I mostly, well, we have a community/stakeholder meeting tomorrow morning. So that's our last one that we'll have, until September, and we'll just do written updates for the community between now and September. We're still waiting on the final revised budget from JBI, the phase 1 contractor who bid on the project. We're trying to get that final before the 4th of July, just because we're concerned about it dragging on. You know, in the interim, I think we're still trying to finalize recommendations for the phase 2, the parking lot redesigns. I think I mentioned this last time that we met to discuss fish plant parking lot, but like recommendations based on the cumulative recommendations of all the people we spoke to during the feedback process of the initial designs. I still need to speak to a few fishermen about some proposed changes at the downtown parking lot. When we met last time, we discussed the need to make sure we are accommodating all uses in that parking lot. And if we're going to elevate the parking lot, what does that mean? Concern was raised that, you know, that would increase the height, which would make it more challenging for fishermen to load and unload. So the suggestion was made to add a hoist. There were other suggestions about, you know, where that could happen. So I'm gonna try to meet with a few people this week who use that parking lot and talk to them about what we were thinking, and like just see the practical application of that. Would that actually work if those changes were made? And once we know that information, Woodard and Curran, they have what they need to produce what we're hopefully calling like more of the final drafts that we can then respond to and get those to you all too to respond to. And then we'll make some final decisions so that phase of the project can actually go out to bid, because it will be fully designed. I think the one thing we're still waiting for is just the boat launch designs. Those weren't necessarily part of what we saw. They were in there, but they, like, detail wasn't included. So we know that not much is really changing with those. I think there's going to be a little bit more, less elevation and a little more length to the downtown parking lot one, and hopefully in conjunction with some redesign backing into that could be straight instead of this. And then, yeah, I think in terms of the one at the fish plant parking lot, that's really just the overhaul and a redo of everything that's falling apart there. So anyway, so I think everyone has like a spreadsheet. Okay, so as we know, we're over budget for phase one. And I think in some of my past updates, I've made some or offered some information on possible funding options. One of them I mentioned was the Main Infrastructure Adaptation Fund. We did get a grant through that program to build the additional retaining wall between the parking lot and Dot and Millie's. That was that $125,000 grant that we got earlier this year. They've the legislature put forth an additional $50 million sort of in response to the January storms, and 25 million went to private, like fishermen, co-ops, that type of thing, private infrastructure. And then another 25 million is what is available now through the Main Infrastructure, Adaptation Fund special grant round. So we figured out sort of what the deficit looks like in terms of the components of the downtown project that are eligible for funding through this pot of money. So what you would be looking at when you see this spreadsheet is what the JBI bid was for those particular elements. Or I should say components, the eligible components of those particular elements. And then we still have, of course, the primary funder being EDA, and then the existing town, state, and water district match. And then you'll see the needed from the MAIF, that's the Main Infrastructure. Oh, sorry, I did my my dyslexic letter exchange there. It should be MIAF. So the Main Infrastructure Adaptation Fund is what we would be requesting from them. So the total amount that we were looking at asking for with a 15% contingency is the $2,424,882. And that will meet our deficit, even though I know I'm saying that without having seen the final JBI number. But in talking with the engineers, based on what they're doing to reduce the work with JBI to reduce the costs, and then adding in this additional money, they feel like that is a reasonable amount. It does require a 5% match from the community, which, considering how much they're offering, is a very minimal match. In speaking with Marjorie, we're considering where that match could come from, and this is sort of where we need, your approval and thoughts on this. So if we do have that resilience reserve, if that passes tomorrow night, we could take that 75,000 from that reserve. And then if we could take the remaining 46,244 from the road reserve, then that would equal the match. So that's how we're considering how we could get to the match that's needed. Now, I have to say, I feel weird at sitting asking for more money, but 5% on, this amount of money, I think is.
Well, the other point is that this application is due Monday. And in the application, we have to put something about, how we're going to come up with that 5% match. So all we're looking for at this point is support for the grant application.
I don't think we should take money out of the, road reserve. If the resiliency thing passes, that's what that's,
Yep.
that's what that's there for. I don't know what are other ideas for the other 46.
Well, I looked at the reserve. Did I bring that book with me? Yeah, I did. I just didn't see any other opportunities in the existing grant funds.
we have an MPI for the downtown partnership road, not eligible for another one at this time. But that's an option, I think. And then the only other way you could look at paving is if you were creating it, making it into something else, like a resilience project. And again, that might just be for portions of your road, but just like operation, maintenance, that type of thing, you usually can't fund through grants.
I guess the thing we were thinking about is that paving is part of this project.
Right.
For the downtown, I mean, not,
Well, we'd piggyback, we were thinking that if all else failed, we'd piggyback off the paving. When the company comes out to do the paving on Main Street, we could give them more paving to do.
Right, which is more cost effective.
It's more cost effective because we don't have the mobilization and the demobilization and all of that, all what we're in the same. basket.
In the grand scheme of things, if there is almost $1 million available in the road fund, $46,000 is not even gonna, it's not even a dent. And if it gives us a chance to get to, what is it, Gabe, $2.4 million towards this project's completion. I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer to me because it's a grant. It's not a loan.
Yeah.
I mean, another thing too, and I can't off the top of my head think of other sources of funding, because of course, any other grant we go after. I mean, it has to be local match. That's the thing, like, I can't go get more state money to match state money, so that and so thinking about what's available in local match.
It's a really low percentage.
Yeah, oh my God, it's terribly low. Yeah, usually match would be like 25% with state grants.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think we really have to think about the downtown project and that water line. That's my biggest thought about the downtown project. That water main is teetering right on the edge.
The water main and the.
And if
and
we
the
don't,
sidewalk,
if
you're
we
right.
don't get that water main replaced, I'm afraid another storm surge could take it out. It could take it out, not with no problem down there on the bridge. And if $46,000, I know how you feel about the roads, lad, and we all agree.
no,
We all
I just
agree.
don't. Cause there's 900,000 available. Half that is basically is a loan.
Right.
For what we have cash on hand. So when you're talking the 300,000, 46,000 is a decent chunk of that. And I don't want to see us going down the road of continually dipping into it is what I'm saying. Like for this right here, you know, this grant, I agree. I think it's a low match, the 5%, and it's not a lot. But what if we don't get this match and on this grant and on the next one they ask for more?
If we don't get it, the 46,000 stays there.
Yes, but I'm saying if another grant comes up, I guess what I'm saying is I think we need to look into other areas to dip into the kitty if we get, if we don't get this and we have to apply for another grant, the match could be more than 5%. So
Easily.
we could be looking at the 75,000 and more than the 46. So,
Well, this has to be in July 1st.
yeah,
Which
I think we need to really seriously think about the downtown project. I mean, I totally understand what you're saying and don't disagree.
Yeah.
But I'm afraid if we don't keep on this path that Gabe and, that we've all worked on, but Gabe knows what's going on with the money, and what if we start losing funding because we're not getting things going ahead. I would worry more about that than I would about $46,000, because we certainly could always take it out of maybe, I don't know, I shouldn't say that because I don't know the number, where we could take it from, but I think you really we need to try to think about it in the grand scheme of things. It's all about the downtown project right now.
If we went ahead and take the grant and know that we have a 46,000, we need to make up somewhere. I don't have a problem with that. I do want to make sure, though, that we're looking at all the other options. What is in the downtown project that's not as critical as that wouldn't affect the grant? And also, what do you think we'll get for a new bid from our contractor? Is that going to be a $46,000 cost, or is it going to be what?
I don't think we can answer those questions.
But I don't think we can, but
Oh.
I think that's part of what we need to be thinking. How can we do this?
Marjorie?
Is the USDA loan is no match?
Zero match.
Okay,
Zero
so we're
match.
also applying for that USDA grant, and
There's no match to it.
Yeah.
there's no match to that.
But it's a broader scope.
Yeah.
USDA grant.
Yeah, I mean, I can't actually say for sure. Brent was bringing it to our attention. And I've never done USDA before, so I haven't done a deep dive into it yet. I was trying to do this one first and then look at that one. I just know it's a federal grant, so the timeline is totally different. But yeah, zero, if we, presumably we are eligible, there's like some documentation we have to provide that we were impacted by storms a couple years ago. Which I can make the case for, and we supposedly would be eligible for that money.
So for today, then we can go ahead and make an agreement that we will go ahead with this.
Yeah, hold on just 1 second, Dawn. Millie?
I was just gonna say, while we're sitting here, I'm thinking about this, you know, the cost of mobilization in a whole nother project is gonna be more than $46,000. Mobilization costs are outrageous, 100,000 or better. So I think if you spend the money on this now, the 46 on this now, you're still coming out ahead, because to bring them out here at another time to pave the roads is gonna be $100,000.
Just to get them out here.
But this is still an if they'll do the extra projects when they're out here. Do we have anybody committed, you know, to that yet?
Well, it's up to the paving company that they bring out here, that comes with the project. But most of them are pretty good about that, and considering the time space, I think that we have a great opportunity to make that happen.
I can't imagine they're gonna turn down work. But
so.
Okay. Is there any more discussion? Okay, so I would move to appropriate $75,000 from Resilience Reserve and $46,244 from Road Reserve as matching funds for Maine Infrastructure Adaptation Fund proposal as part of the Downtown Project Phase 1.
so moved.
Do I have a second? All in favor? Okay, thank you. Good discussion.
Fingers crossed, you get it.
Fingers crossed for you, Gabe.
For us.
I wish it was for me.
Yeah, I know. Well, if it is.
The process.
Or just what that resilience thing has to get voted on tomorrow night. What happens? What happens if that doesn't pass?
The important thing is, the important thing is for the documentation for the grant, I can say we met, we had this discussion.
Okay.
You approved it. That's all I need for the grant.
Right.
And as Marjorie and I were discussing, like, once, if we get it, there's a whole grant agreement process before anything is signed. We can revisit.
You have to come back.
Okay.
Right.
This is just to get things rolling.
Yeah. This is so I can put it in that.
So you can apply.
Exactly.
But I think we need to, back to Millie's point, though, if we are seriously thinking about saving because of doubling the load, we need to be talking to whoever the paver's gonna be as soon as possible.
We will, as soon
Yeah.
as we know who they are, I'll be jumping right up with them.
Okay, is there any more discussion on downtown project, Gabe? Are we all set?
That's good for now.
Okay, yeah, that's perfect for me too.
We don't need any more surprises.
No, I hope not. Okay, we'll move on to C, Public Works, Milsou. Anything to add to
Well, just the towing thing, I guess is,
if that's,
my reports are all in and
yep.
up to date, and we have Peter with us in the background there.
So we'll do, oh, he's on there now? Oh, hi, Peter. Can we move 9A up to and put it next, so in case Peter has to leave?
Oh, yeah.
We will address 9A currently.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
We had a.
You are not even close. I'm way off the agenda here, Nelson. And thank you for these every week. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Hopefully.
No, it's good. Okay, so we'll do vehicle towing and impound procedure.
All right, so you've probably seen the procedure manual that I put together with also with the intake report that Peter and I put together. So did you have a chance to review that? I think all we need is to have that stamp of approval from you folks so that we can use the process that we're doing. We've actually had to do it. We had to do it this weekend, and it worked out very well. I think I don't know, Peter, what are your thoughts on it? Is that all right?
What's that, Millie? I'm sorry, I was talking to her.
I was saying Peter, I think he was in agreement that it went all right.
Yeah, Peter, do you want to add anything to this?
It went well. We got it down there, got our report filled out. I mean, she did a really good job at making a good report, so everything's covered. I don't know if you guys have any questions or.
I read through it. I thought.
I think the only, not a question, but the one thing I just wanted you to reassure us is that everything had been cleared, that we were doing things properly through the, from the superiors.
Yeah, so I talked to them, and if you look, there's a state law. It's 29A 2422. It's for when there's an OUI or driving under the influence. That it's in the law that you can impound the vehicle and they can't get it for 8 hours. And I think that's in the policy that
I'll put it in the policy. Yes,
really put in there. As far as some of the other things that we had discussed, it's more of a officer discretion thing. So every situation is going to be a little different. I mean, if you have somebody that's driving without a license, there may be somebody right next to them that has a license. Okay, we'll switch seats. So it depends. Some of that stuff's going to be from situation to situation. So
right,
it was last meeting, Marge.
What?
It was last meeting that Millie gave us the copies.
Okay.
Marge, did you want to add?
Yeah, Elizabeth found a discrepancy between the impound notice and the
policy.
And the policy, it says $25 per day, but on this
I took that
but
down.
This one says $10 a day.
What? I said we do need to fix that. Thank you, Elizabeth, because I don't want to do $25 a day. I think that's too much for a lot of. We're going to end up with a lot of cars with a lot of people on us money. So I thought $10 a day, $50 max per week. You can't charge them for the weekend because they have no way to get it out of hawk. So I can make a quick change on this to say $10 per day, $50 per week. And it also does have a maximum amount per month that you can do, which is by state law. That's why that's in there as well.
Right.
So I will fix that. And then this paper plus the hard copy of the report from Peter, these will be mailed to the person whose vehicle has been impounded or or whatever else, you know, other properties that may be impacted. Whether it be an ATV, a motorcycle, or a boat trailer, or
Right.
what have you. I mean, it's gonna be a wide variety down behind there. We'll
Yes.
have a lawn sale.
Yes, absolutely. Oh,
But,
God.
yeah, because I just put this together today because I realized we didn't have a letter to send. So
Oh,
that's why I haven't shared this with you folks yet, you know, I think I just gave a blank copy out or I gave it to Liz, but give it to you. But that just more or less goes out to the owner and I'll keep one on file. Just so they know that the vehicle is where it is and this is what they need to do.
Okay. Peter, do you have anything you want to add?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, so what is our, do we have what do we do next? Do we have to just
a motion to approve the town of Vinalhaven?
So we do have to have a motion.
Yeah.
Okay.
With, I would say with the
with amendment, with amendment.
change of time of cost.
Okay. So I would make a motion that we accept the, thank you, Town of Vinalhaven Vehicle Tow and Impound Report with amendments as noted.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
and all in favor? Okay. All right, good, thank you. Peter, thank you so much for taking your time to be on. I just am glad that you clarified that about the, you know, that we're doing everything right, so.
Yeah.
You don't need to get in trouble.
Yeah.
We don't need to get in trouble with the sheriff's department. Okay, thank you.
A lot about laws in the last. Thanks, Peter.
So, righty. We'll move on to Net Factory Site Reuse Committee update.
Are we doing this? No, we didn't get it in time. I'm sorry.
Oh, right,
We had it on the agenda
Yeah,
because we
sorry,
were going to get
sorry.
an update, but then we didn't receive it from the committee.
Oh, okay. Alrighty, so.
next time.
That's fine.
I actually had something I was gonna talk on the public works thing. Do you have any chance on your list of to-dos, getting some more tar patch on around the island road up, going to the dump, like some of those culverts?
The culverts aren't done yet because I'm holding off till 1st of July to order more tar patch. So right now I'm just doing the bare minimum of potholes and such. But yeah, that is always a plan. We've done it repeatedly, especially on the ones on the farther side. That keeps sinking, so.
There's one good one there now, I saw.
Yeah, I mean, if you put a culvert in and you don't compact it, it continues to sink, and that's exactly what happened there. So it's gonna continue, and we're just gonna keep putting the tar patch on it till it's time to pull them out and redo them and do them right.
There's a hole by like Walt's driveway. That's pretty deep. Have you noticed that?
We got those today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else, anybody? All set, move on. Okay, 8, old business. A, model aquaculture moratorium ordinance.
We tried to give you all of the historic materials that we had. I think it was back in the fall of well, some of this was actually from 2022. I don't know what kind of questions you have.
I don't know, Leslie, you wanted this on the.
Yeah, I just wanted to revisit it, just. We kind of. Put it to the wayside. And. I just kind of wanted to bring it up again, simply because.
I don't think it's a bad idea to do that. I would like to spend some time on this to read it again, just to get caught up before we.
I did some I talked to Flora Drury for quite a length of time last week, and she put me in touch with the harbor master from Harpswell, and he and I've had a email, and I guess that didn't get put on the,
Oh, we're supposed to print that.
that's
out.
okay.
I mean,
Yeah, we can send it, like, but he had a lot of information for what they did, what they do down there. They're overwhelmed with LPAs, but their whole area, Casco Bay, from like Marjorie speaks of Shabig a lot, and Harpswell, that whole area is prime real estate, so to speak, for the different LPAs. They don't have any large scale pens, salmon pens or anything, but they have a lot of, kelp and, well, the usual, shellfish and whatnot. And they do not have an ordinance. The ordinance, from what I understand from Flora and what other information I could gather, ordinances, the DMR doesn't, you could have whatever ordinance you want. That's not, they won't even look at it. But one thing that they do have in Harpswell is, it's like a land use ordinance, but it's for their water. So they had like 4 different, types of like water use. Like one would be for commercial and one was for, public, private, public sailing, just had 4 different things. I can't remember now exactly. I'm not gonna bother to look at the thing, but they formed a committee, and so, and they did have, somebody tried to get 4, they applied for 4 different LPAs, this one person, and the harbor master, it's up to him to yay or nay. And then I guess it does go to their board of selectmen, but he denied that to the DMR. And when they looked at what they had done to try to create this water zone type of thing, they actually agreed with that and said they'd done such a good job trying to create this model that they denied the request for those 4 LPAs. So the biggest thing I got out of everything is an ordinance is a waste of time. It really is a waste of time. And who's going to enforce it? And who's going to write it? And if the DMR just scoffs at it, what's the point?
Yeah.
That was how I looked at it.
I'm reading this letter from 2023, and that's basically the DMR says the town doesn't have jurisdiction,
Right. The
Yeah.
ordinance doesn't give you any.
Yeah.
That second paragraph is pretty
Yeah.
clear.
Yeah, that's
They don't have jurisdiction.
Right.
So would you, when you have a minute, would you share the email?
I was supposed to do that. I apologize.
Marjorie was gonna.
Pam asked me to forward that to the rest of the selectmen, and then I just.
But apparently, with my talking with Flora, the memorandum that, she called it a white page from David Callan dated August 24th, 2022. This is interesting, and this looks to be give you a little bit more insight into what's going on with the whole thing. But anyway, the guy, Paul, what was his last name? Paul, doesn't matter. He was great. He got right back to me. He sent me the water, and they have a water committee, and he was great. And I mean, I don't know how many applications Vinalhaven will get, or I mean, it would seem to me that we would be getting applications if people were interested in starting aquaculture farming, or however you want to term it, right, or say it. But it would seem to me that we would be having a lot of requests, wouldn't you think, if people were really interested in coming and starting something? I mean, I know Emily, I talked to Emily Lane today, and she, they're not going to renew their lease because they can't get anybody to help them harvest the kelp. So they're just going to let their lease expire.
I think you're right, Pam, that it doesn't make sense to do an ordinance. I think we should do something so we can just kind of monitor what's happening and not get surprised by something and not have at least some idea what we might do, if anything.
Right, so, I mean, Margaret can send you that.
I will, but, just to review, when, Department of Marine Resources gets an application, they let the town know right away.
I've had several friends that have gone
Yeah.
through the process, and
Yes.
it's, there's no surprise.
There's no surprise,
Yes.
yeah,
There's several, there can be many town hearings.
right. There's a scoping session, and that's just an informational meeting where people come and listen to the applicant, and then it goes another time period, and then there's a public hearing about it, and the towns can become what is known as an intervener, which means they can have witnesses. So
It's pretty well put. I mean, I think I get emails daily of every application that goes through.
yes,
Yeah,
I
you
get
can look
those
at, you
too.
can look it up on the DMR
Yeah, I mean, they
website.
send like emails to me.
Yep.
every day I see like one pops up. That's a loan application.
Yeah.
It's not like one of these things that's gonna sneak out. If it has, it's because you 100% haven't been.
Haven't been paying attention. Yeah, no, there's no surprise when it comes to that, that's for certain.
Okay, we'll get it.
Yeah, I guess I'll
covered.
be interested to see what the man. from
I will
Parks
send it. I apologize.
No,
I was
that's okay,
supposed to
Mark.
send it.
I'm
get,
just,
and what was I gonna say? That's the only other thing. Can I? I'm
Of course.
Is the town might want to think about, we do have I think a harbor committee and a harbor ordinance,
Yes.
but it's never been enforced to its fullest, and I don't know if there's still an active harbor committee. There was a fairly active committee in Shabig called Coastal Waters Committee, same kind of thing. It sounds like there's an active group in Harpswell. I guess that would be the only thing, to try to get either the existing committee or a new committee active again.
Should be a committee of 7. There are only 3 members on it,
Yeah,
and they
But
never
if they
meet.
don't meet, yeah,
they,
it's inactive.
Word at this point.
Yeah.
the one thing he sent me, the 3 things he sent was the water classification definitions, water classification map. I mean, they actually have a map that shows the different areas that are, how they're classified. And then there's an aquaculture working group. And they have a shellfish committee. We don't have a shellfish committee. But this is all in that email. I mean, he was great. He sent me.
yeah, that,
But I mean, anybody can research and find information if you want to do it. I just was interested to see what other towns. There are some down east that do have ordinances, but I didn't speak with any of those people, like Cutler and some other towns. That's what I know.
well, thank you for looking into it.
Oh, absolutely.
I
mean, it's
just,
interesting.
yeah, I just wanted to bring it up again, and I'm glad that he responded.
I know when we reviewed it the first time, it was a consensus of the board that the ordinance is probably not a good.
Yeah.
Not the right way to
It
go.
wasn't the right fit,
No.
but I'm glad that we are revisiting in
Okay.
a different way.
How did I go with my agenda? Is that it?
No, but you can
I
have
know,
mine.
where the heck did I go with it? Okay. And, well, let's,
Right next year.
this is, I don't know where it went. Okay, so I think we are
9B.
that, we did 9B, yep, I don't have my.
That event
Application.
Go with
Here.
that. Application for an event liquor license from the Vinalhaven Community Brewery. So, okay. So do you have the application?
I do.
Do we have to just sign it?
Yep.
Oh, there it is. Wow, Pam. Give me more papers, please.
The motion to approve, do we?
This is just like they had last year in the parking lot for the, during the 4th of July celebration.
Yeah, we need a motion.
Yep. Motion.
Motion to approve,
Go ahead, Dawn.
motion to approve the special event license.
All in favor? Sorry, I kind of dropped the ball on that one.
We get so involved in the last one.
I know, I did. I really got into it. I found it really interesting. And it's not a bad thing,
No, not at all.
I don't think, but there was something about, how do they call it? Cold kill, like when the temperatures drop immediately, like how it affects the salmon. They have to worry about that, and it's just. Okay, number 10, report of town manager.
I just have a few things to know. Tomorrow morning, we have another meeting with FEMA. Mark and Ryan and myself and Molly have been working with FEMA to recover some funds for the damage to the public infrastructure and some expenses that we incurred. When we went and cleaned up that property on School Street?
East Boston.
East Boston, sorry. USDA, the mortgage holder, said that they would pay us, and they actually did pay us. We got $1,800 back for the work that we did there, and all of the dump fees, and some money that we spent on plywood to just, close up the structure. But I was surprised that they sent us the money so quickly. So
I'm shocked.
Yeah, I didn't think we'd ever see a cent for that.
I know.
I put my bill in for weed whacking there, so.
Just another brief report on the, we've been talking about whose responsibility the I-beam is down on Main Street adjacent to the Tidewater. And Phil had some engineers come out, and the early report is that the only thing, the I-beam only supports that water pipe, and the water pipe is something that we'll be replacing during the project. So this is still an ongoing conversation. So I just, Phil and I talked about it, and the Calderwood Engineering is going to give us a report, and then, but most of the cost was just the assessment on the Tidewater, and he'll take care of that. So it'll just be a separate little report about the I-beam and the water pipe. So that's just an ongoing project. Well, this is just something Kevin Hopkins asked me for. We got some bad news about one of our ambulances went in for service, and the report wasn't good. So I'm just worried that we'll have to move toward a replacement of the ambulance sooner than we had hoped. So, but anyway, I just wanted to let you know that we got a bad report on when we took it in for service this last time. But it's old. It's a 2009 Ford E450. But it's an older one, but apparently we use it more frequently than the newer one. But anyway.
Do we know what the bad report was on it?
I'm sorry, I don't speak the language, something about the engine. And they weren't really sure if it could be repaired or not. So it's kind of, I just got an initial report like, hey, heads up, we might have a problem with this ambulance. Maybe it'll be better in the end. I don't know.
Do they keep an eye out for used ambulances like to, on a regular basis, to just see if anything comes up for
We're in
sale.
constant, well, yeah, we're in contact with Greenwood about new ambulances, and sometimes they'll contact us if they have a good used one that,
Right,
yeah.
I got our first one out of Florida.
Mm.
It was in beautiful shape. I guess
Mm.
probably because it was, had never seen snow or
yeah.
sand or salt.
That's all I have, unless you have some questions about anything for me.
Report of members,
I have a
Red,
question. Well, go ahead.
Dawn,
On the fireworks, are we having fireworks this year or is that?
I believe they are.
Next year.
Oh, it's not this year, next year.
The pirate week, it takes us a couple of years to raise the money
Okay,
for the pyrotechnics to come out and do it. Somebody sets them up over the harbor here and there, but I have no idea.
I don't either, but that's not related to the 4th of July committee or anything, so.
We've got $8,000 right now.
In the fireworks?
In the reserve.
Yeah, good. Okay.
But it sounds like it's obviously way too late at this point.
Well, it's really not the fireworks committee, the
Celebration.
The celebration
committee.
Celebration committee now, because we do more than just
More
4th
than
of
just
July,
Fourth.
but I mean, it takes several years because we have a lot of irons in the fire as well. It's not just fireworks, it's many other things. But to have the pyrotechnics come out and actually do the big show, that's a pretty grand expense. So we're trying to do that every few years versus, every year or what have you. And I think it kind of makes it a little more pleasant too, if you wait a couple of years and then you come back with it and just makes for a better show. It's too expensive to do every year.
Yeah, it is expensive.
I mean, there's usually anywhere from $12,000 to $18,000 spent.
Things that go boom.
Yeah.
Hey, Don, did you have anything more about that? I mean,
No, it's just a question I had.
Okay.
I had a question though on the ordinances. We talked about ordinances not being observed, like the vendors in the parking lot down there. I mean, they're up front, they're not back. Now that we have police, is it possible we can start to enforce some of those ordinances?
Where is that? In the parking ordinance?
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I
mean, the fair thing is they do take the spaces that older people might
right up front
want to use, that might have trouble walking across the road, or they're like right by the fire hall, and then they take that first space by the Eagle.
Yeah.
And then in summer, there's a couple spaces in the,
don't know, what does the parking ordinance say
the
about
parking
enforcement?
ordinance says on the front row of the parking lot is 2
No,
hours.
I mean about enforcement. Who enforces the parking ordinance?
It's enforceable by the police department, but I'm not sure if that means that they actually will do that or not. I mean, it's another parking.
It's in. I mean, I think we went over this when we went and talked about the flea market thing in our contract with Knox County. It's in there to enforce our ordinances.
that's right.
I would say we've gone through the hoopla, getting 2 deputies and all this stuff.
Should be enforcing.
Yeah.
Either that or take it off, one or the other.
Well, I think that too, if we don't have to go down Brazil, but put something in the wind perhaps to start, and ask vendors, would you please park near the back of the parking lot?
We actually have been putting ordinances in the wind and on Facebook, and I haven't seen much of a difference there. And the thing too is, if there's not somebody in their vehicle, they're not going to go hunt for them or sit there and wait for them to come out. It's just not doable. That's why that suggested at the beginning the parking tickets was just because, which again, then it becomes more behind the scenes work for us, or administrative people, whatever. So, I mean, it's kind of catch-22 on how you deal with it. When we have the new parking lot, you know, we can certainly put the signage up that's needed. It's kind of shame to put all kinds of signage up now.
I mean, the ordinance is there, we discussed it, and you know, I just don't see why we don't enforce it. Or take it off the books, one or the other.
I'll send it to the deputies if that's what you want me to do.
Yeah. And the other one I had was, the mailbox on.
I sent the owner a letter and asked him to move it.
On that.
He has not responded. So I don't know. I think we talked about this the other day and we didn't know if we could legally move it. Is that?
I don't think we can, because it's a federal mailbox.
Don't you go to the postmaster?
The postmaster is pretty wishy-washy on it. You know, I kind of was taking the back seat because of the issues that I have with somebody in that area. So I didn't really want to get too involved in the process, simply because I've already got enough on my plate to deal with that. So, but as far as I know, she didn't mention that she could send a letter, but I mean, if Marjorie sent a letter and nothing's happened, I'm guessing that probably another letter isn't going to do much either. So I think it's a matter of finding out what we need to do or what we can do, or what the post office can do. I mean,
well, I'm surprised because the postal delivery person tells you where to put your mailbox. And I can't believe that they would have told that person to put a mailbox in the middle of a sidewalk.
I can't believe they would either.
It doesn't make any sense to me. Whatever. Okay.
That's it.
You're all done, Dawn?
I'm done.
Okay. Leslie.
I was just going to ask Millie, can you order a couple of more signs saying no bicycles on sidewalks? Because
I think I have some more.
okay, I think there's one.
We've got one by the electric company, one down by the vegetable place, and we've got one over by
the vegetable place.
Yeah,
it was the Creelman.
Yeah.
And there's one by the bank.
And there's one by the bank, and there's one by the Legion Hall, and there's one down by the boat wharf.
I think
we need how many we can do.
I think they have one has to be put on the other side. You know, like
yes, there are, but you also have to be aware that you start too many signs becomes complacent in the other direction. I was reading an article today about children playing, slow children playing or what have you. And the there's several states that have joined in this now that are outlawing those signs because you're busy reading the signs and you're not looking for kids, and that parents are taking, using the signs as their almost like a babysitter, like, well, people will go slow by here because there's signs up and kids are getting hit because of, people looking at the sign or parents just assuming that cars are going to slow down. There's a big study going on with it right now, which is, yeah. I mean, I can add more. It's just.
I mean, it sounds like there's ample signage. I just see bicycles.
We need to stop and say, no, get off the, walk your bike on the sidewalk.
I did today.
Oh, you did? See?
I did.
We're going to get her a badge.
And I did, or a couple of days ago, I did another, poor guy scared. I said, excuse me, sir, but you're not supposed to have a bicycle on the sidewalk, ride bikes on the sidewalk. And I went, oh my God, I'm so sorry. He thought he was going to fall off his bike. I mean, he literally jumped right off his bike. And
that's another, if the police officer sees bike, just talk to them and explain to them it's dangerous.
Yeah, no, I've only had one person look at me like I was stupid.
Right.
A man and his little boy were riding their bikes, and I said, excuse me, you're not supposed to be on the sidewalk with your bikes. And that guy looked at me like he would have just as soon come punch me as get off the
You
side.
have bicycles on the sidewalk and pedestrians walking down the middle of the road this time of year. So.
Right, right. The other thing I wanted to put on record, because 4th of July is next week, is please leave your dogs home. Do not bring them to town.
That's posted on our stuff.
Just putting that out there again, like I do every year.
The big dog fight by the Monopoly games last.
Oh, God. All righty, number 12, move to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Yep.
Good meeting, Pam.
Thank you, Dawn.